Hey everyone, it's Ryder from Skip. Hope you're doing well, and thanks for tuning in today to this office hours type webinar. So, in a minute, I'll introduce some of our team members that have joined today. A lot of the folks who've been helping people get EIDL loans, EIDL loan increases, and a whole bunch of stuff. So, we'll let a few people join. Like I said, we invited a small number of some of our Skip users, so I really appreciate you taking the time out. I know it's we tried to find a good time, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, that would work for most people. We asked what would work, and this was the best time. So we're going to cover a number of things today, but the main thing is we want to answer your questions. So please drop your questions, whether it's related to EIDL loans, EIDL grants, any funding in situation you're in, or any other business questions as well, because we have a lot of experts on the call. So hi, Tina. Thanks for the shout out. And so we're going to cover some EIDL updates, and also there's some new SBA guidance that we're going to talk about, new grants, and some certifications. And for folks who tune in late, well, you're here early, so thanks for coming up. But for folks who tune in late, we will be sending this video out to everyone so you can watch it, and we'll be doing some notes as well. Thanks, Lynn, for coming. So let me start before I introduce folks and say, overall, we're going to ask a poll in a minute, by the way, if you're still waiting for EIDL loan increases. But overall, the SBA is still processing thousands of applications every week, not only new applications, but increases. And even this week alone, we're seeing a lot of people get approved. And so if we do one thing, hopefully it's to encourage you, if you're still waiting for funding for your business, that progress is being made. And, let me switch to bring in the team here. And, we have the dream team of funding expertise and business expertise, and that's why we're here. So first, I'll introduce Ray, who's one of our senior concierges, senior funding experts. And I think in some of my YouTube videos, I even shared a lot of screenshots of the folks Ray has helped, saying, hey, thanks, Ray, I got my EIDL increase. So welcome to Ray. And Chrissy, who worked at the SBA, helping people with loans and basically any SBA. So she's our SBA expert, and it's really fantastic to have her. So ask all your SBA related questions. Really, don't be shy here today. Like I said, we've kept this intimate, so just for you. So if we can't get through all your questions, we'll do our best to. And Alicia, who's a senior concierge on our team as well, who's been helping tons of people successfully get EIDL increases and EIDL funding. So big welcome to all of you. And here you can see us all. So hey, Barb, and growing 2021. I like that. I like the username there. So great to see you all. So let me first talk about some of the new things we have up on the Skip website that may help you as a business owner, and then we'll get into EIDL funding. So let me switch over to our blog. We just put this up yesterday, which is why I want to tell you about it, how to calculate your ideal business loan amount. And by the way, we're going to put up a poll right now that asks, are you still waiting for EIDL funding or not? So we'll run that poll and we'll see the results, so we can know what you need help with. But anyway, we put up this post, and we have a new calculator, so you can figure out if you're eligible for a business loan, how much you may need to repay. Here's a screenshot of it. So basically, you can toggle to what loan amount you'd want, the loan terms, potential interest, some of our partners. So we're doing more and more of these calculators to help you and your business. And here's the calculator as well. I left a link for this in the description, so you can tune into the you can check the link in the description. For example, you can see if you want a $70,000 loan, what loan term you'd want, and what the monthly interest rate would be. Click calculate and see what your total interest is. And the reason I bring that up is because so many folks with EIDL loans have asked us a couple things. Well, how to get approved, what to send to the SBA to get approved, and what should you take the full amount you're eligible for? It's a common question, and there's pros and cons there. It always depends on your business situation. Of course, as we know, the stock market has been tanking the past few days. The Fed is raising interest rates, so the cheap capital is going to be hard to come by this year. So if you're thinking ahead, maybe there's a recession, maybe there isn't. But if you're trying to plan ahead, there's an argument to be made for taking a little bit more capital for your business. So with that being said, let's answer some questions. And Tina, since you asked the first one here, and we'll bring this up too. I'll raise it here. Tina, thanks for asking that. So you've gotten a PPP and EIDL last year, but I was wondering if I missed any loans or grants being a minority women owned small business. So Alicia, you want to talk a little bit about that and maybe some insights there, especially because you've done the women owned certification.
Hmm. Absolutely. Well, as far as the loans are, for any SBA loans, it really depends on the amount that you're looking for and what you're looking for funding for. For minority and women business owners, if you're looking for funding, say up to $50,000, there is a great program that the SBA offers, and it's called a microloan program. Again, anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000. These are smaller loans, but these loans are specifically catered towards small businesses that are minority and that are women owned. The funds are they're not going through traditional lenders. Most of the participating lenders of these funds are nonprofit organizations, they're community leaders. So these are certainly community funds. And again, their whole purpose is to make sure they are getting funding for small businesses, minority and women owners within the community. So funding happens really quickly with these. If you have all the paperwork together, you can get funding in as little as 2 weeks for these. Um, and you mentioned being a minority woman small business. So I'm not sure if you are aware of the minority woman owned small business certification that is through the SBA. This is a great certification for women owned businesses because it puts us in a category within the SBA to be in front of more of these funding options, to be, considered more for these funding options. There's actually about 5% of business that is held back through the SBA that is specifically held for women owned and minority businesses. So, great certification to have. No cost if you go through the process yourself. You just have to have a DUNS number. You have to have a SAM or System of Award Management account, which is through sam.gov. You sign up there. Once your account is active, once you have your DUNS number, then you can go through this certification process and you'll be in a much better position to get these loans and federal grants and all kind of other opportunities that are out there for us as women-owned businesses.
Absolutely. And while you were talking about that, I pulled up the blog post that talks about this, and it's in the description. If you scroll down to the grants page in the description to where it says women owned or minority owned, we have in-depth posts on all those areas. Chrissy or Ray, anything you want to add in there?
Um, No, just to piggyback off of what Alicia said, it is important to get certified if you can, because they actually have a percentage of um, grants that go to those different segments, whether you're minority owned or woman owned business. So it kind of helps you beat out competition with everyone else if you're just a woman owned or minority owned business. So it does have its benefits, and we can assist you with getting that here at Skip if you need our help.
Absolutely. And just I scroll down on the page here, and it's good to hear, Tina, that you have a DUNS number. It sounds like so. We kind of go step by step to register for SAM.gov, then create an account on grants.gov, and etc. You can get the gist, but yeah, and obviously we can help you go through this as well. I mean, that's what we're here for. That's why we leave links around everywhere to talk with us. Uh, so while I'm here, I will just to show a little bit else what's up here. So we have this page for small business grants for women, women-owned businesses, and there's women business centers across the country, small business development centers. Um, if you don't feel like reading all of these, of course, you can just, I mean, that's what we're here for. We can talk a bit more explicitly about some things to go after. For example, some grants, the Amber Grant Foundation, they've been doing this for a while. They award 400K per year to women-owned businesses, and 225K grants are awarded annually at the year's end. So the downside there is they ask for an application fee. So I'm not a huge fan that they're asking you to pay to have a shot at the grant application, but I think that it's good because it weeds out people who aren't serious about it, and I think they have other resources as well. There's the Freed Fellowship, offers monthly grants of 500 to women and people of color to assist them in entrepreneurial advances. I Fund Women, which is I guess they have 8 million from corporate grants. So these are like big corporate companies. I mean, we're doing our grants program, $1,000 grants, a handful of those every month. But there's a lot of others out there too. SoGal, Black Founder Startup Grant. So take a look through there. I won't read through them all. And we also have this top minority owned business grants as well. Um, so let me check where we at with the poll in terms of the who's who's received EIDL funding or who's still waiting. Do we have a number there? Um, Drop it in the comments uh, if we do. And again, here's the minority-owned businesses. You can see a ton of minority-owned business grants you can go through. Now, if you find one after watching and you have questions about it, you can also let us know, and we'll help you there as well. Um, any other questions that have come across in the comments? Uh, if not, I think what we'll do is there's a couple SBA changes that I want to talk about, and so let me pull those up. Oh yeah, if someone wants to answer that, this WSB and
Yeah, absolutely. That is two different things. A DUNS number is more or less where you begin to obtain your business credit. That's what that number is. The WOSB is an actual certification that is offered through the SBA, and it certifies you as a specific either. Well, the WOSB is going to certify you as a woman-owned small business.
um, okay, so this is semi-breaking news in that it's what we heard from a loan officer yesterday. And Ray, you can speak to this. It's basically if you're still waiting for an EIDL loan, and we have it's still split. I mean, small sample size so far, but half of you are still waiting. So I think we can speak about it. The question we've heard a ton of is if you're going to go after a loan increase, what does the SBA need in terms of personal credit, collateral, and other documents, other things for your scheduled liability? So we just saw this. I don't know if I can zoom in here. Let me try. to zoom in here. But Ray, do you want to speak? Do you want to speak to this?
Of course. So this is what they're actually wanting for you to include in the schedule of liabilities, which we all know as Form 2202. So some things to kind of point out is, don't add any mortgages on property if the deed is not in the business name. Um, Obviously, they're looking for some sort of collateral for those loans that are 500 and over. So it does make sense. Don't have any debt that's in your personal name for the company. That, of course, we know goes on a separate form. So it does make sense in that aspect. Don't add any personal debt, such as mortgages, car loans, personal credit cards on here. Um, One interesting one that I thought was really good is the SBA IDL loans or the PPP loans don't go on your schedule of liabilities. So you don't want to include that. However, if you have a 7A loan or, for example, a 405 loan, then those are things that you want to disclose on this form. A good one that a lot of my clients have been asking me is, well, what about if there's an account payable that's going to be paid in the next 6 months? What do I do then? Well, according to this particular loan officer, you don't have to include it, because it's going to be paid within that 10-month range. You don't want to include any sales tax or payroll tax deductible or payable. We do not include any installment loans that are going to be paid off within the 24-month period. So again, even though this is in particular to this loan assistant, um, it kind of goes in a little bit in all ways, but definitely a good guide to kind of keep in mind when you're filling out the 2202.
Thanks, Ray, for that. And don't all email Colleen because she's just the loan officer messenger here. So, and there's one other thing that I'm going to bring up that we heard from the SBA in terms of changes, but I'll bring that up in a minute. But Andrew asked this question here: how do you deal with the SBA not responding to your recon request? Chrissy, what would you, as the SBA expert, what would you do there?
Well, so there are a couple of things that you want to do, Andrew. The first thing is you want to make sure that you've given them enough time to even get to your reconsideration request. So if it's been over like maybe 3 weeks and you still haven't received, you don't show that you've received a reconsideration request that has been put into the system, I would reach out to the SBA. You would want to call them as opposed to emailing them. Emails most of the time do not get personalized responses. Phone calls will. When you call the SBA, ask to speak to a Tier 2 agent. They tend to be more knowledgeable about the inner workings of the SBA. I would also make sure that you put in the application number of the original application that was denied. Put it in the subject line if you haven't done that. And then if after 3 weeks you call them, they still don't have it, they don't see it, put in another request. Make sure that you're sending it to the PDC recons at sba.gov. If you have a increase that's being reconsidered, you may want to also blonde carbon copy COVID EIDL increase requests at sba.gov. So that's what I would do.
That's a great one. And yeah, I know it's frustrating, but like I'd always try to communicate that you will hear back eventually. So, but I know it's frustrating. So let me bring in one more question here before we share a little bit more. So Lynn says this: the SBA site has a note that says my loan is in reconsideration. It has shown the message for 11 weeks. So, Chrissy, you want to speak to Lynn's situation there?
Yes, of course. Hi, Lynn. So if your reconsideration has been in the same place for 11 weeks, it's time to do some things. So the first thing that I would do is, again, ask to speak to a tier 2 agent. Ask, is there anything missing at all from my application? When it sits like that, there could be something that is missing. Um, for some reason or another, the SBA doesn't always reach out to you and say, hey, that 4506T form is expired or it didn't go through or we didn't receive your 2019 tax returns. So you may have to call. The other thing that I would do, if they said, oh, we've received everything, is I would start to look at reaching out to your senators. Before I would do that, I would request an escalation with the supervisor. So get that escalation going, give it another week or two for them to get your application, and actually escalate it. If that doesn't work, then you want to start looking at your state representatives. Just real quick, what happens with that is they move your um, EIDL loan from the regular population of applications and they move it to a congressional loan inquiry section so that your state representative will be in direct contact with the SBA and their congressional person.
That's a great one. Let us know if that helps, Lynn. You say escalation was done, and she did get me help. That's so really glad to hear that. And by the way, if you're just joining us, because we invited a few more folks to join us here, we have some great expertise here. Former SBA representative, SBA expert, a couple other of our funding experts talking all things the latest EIDL news. So I know there's a question about grants and the targeted map. We can mention that. Nothing's changed there. Spoiler alert. And also EIDL loan reconsiderations and increases. What's working? We just went over a few new things there. We're going to try to answer as many questions as possible in the next 40 minutes. So drop them in the comments. We have a poll as well. If you're waiting for EIDL funding, let us know, because we know that that's much of our audience is waiting for something there. And we have lots of other grants we've been talking about too, and certifications. So we're really trying to impress that on people now, given the state of the economy, the stock market, and many folks like you thinking, how can you get a little more capital in these next couple months? And I think it's a good idea, because there's rumors about, if basically the Fed rates going up, inflation was so high, but now we've kind of reversed course very drastically, and the stock market's down. And there's question of, well, if we don't print $2 trillion more dollars, will there be a recession or not? We have links in the description. So for top minority-owned business grants for 2022, top women-owned business grants for 2022. All these you can link to from our main post on the Ultimate Guide to Small Business Grants. So if there's a grant up there, we're going to find it. We update this. Our team updates this every single week. And there's a couple other links in the description as well. So let's bring in some more questions here. Greg, what do we have on deck here? Okay. Debbie, where do you apply for this, the EIDL? I think, can we just put in a link there? And Greg, I'm not sure if you're able to respond to the, but it's a great question. So you can apply for new EIDL loans at the moment, but Chrissy, correct me if I'm wrong, you can apply for the traditional EIDL loans. Is that right?
Yes, you can apply for the traditional EIDL loans as long as your business was before February 2020. If not, then you may want to look at something like a 7A loan or something a little bit different.
All right. Next question. CF asks, been waiting for a loan officer for about 4 to 5 weeks. I hear it takes 6 to 8 weeks. Is this still the case? The timelines can be a moving target, but that's what we've been hearing. But maybe we can all chime in, because collectively, we've helped, between the four of us, we've helped, I mean, thousands directly get through the finish line. So what have we seen? Maybe we can do an internal poll here, starting with Chrissy, then Alicia, then Ray.
Yes, so 6 to 8 weeks sounds about right, and reconsideration can take even longer than that, maybe about 12 weeks. So exercise a little patience here.
All right. Sherry asks, I sent 3 corrected 4506T forms after being told the first one was incorrect. The loan officer still used the first form and then denied me based on that. Who wants to speak to that?
I can
Well,
go. Oh,
oh,
go ahead,
go
Chrissy.
ahead.
You're the expert.
No, no, no. I was just gonna say this is an opportunity where Skip can actually help you. So if you want to send us the 4506T form that you sent to them that got denied, we would be able to give you a direct answer because we can look at it. It's kind of hard to say, what is and won't be accepted if we can't like fully look at it. So if you want to get with your funding concierge and send it over, or even sign up for our services, well, you're already a part of our services. That's why you're here. But if you want to just send us that information, we'd be glad to assist you with that, Sherry.
Yeah, and absolutely. Alicia, did you want to add anything there?
No, that was pretty much it. It really just depends on, which one it is. I know there's the new one that's out, that the 2020, the March 2020 form that they have been saying. So it really would be best to take a look at it just to make sure. But it looks like she's saying that they use the same incorrect form, so they're using that. That might be worth a call to the SBA to kind of figure out what's going on there. Even try reach out to your local SBA if you're not able to get through at the main number.
Sounds great. Let's pull up the next question, and while we do that, I'm going to share. So something that I think a lot of you have already used, since you've been subscribing and watching our channel. And if you search EIDL recipients or PPP recipients, you probably come across this helloskip.com/EIDL-data, but you can Google it. But you may be curious about this. We try to update this. So basically, if you get an EIDL or PPP, it's publicly available. And so your information is probably in here. You could put in anything, hands. I'll just make up something here, but you could put in location if you want. Let's put in Boston. Boston Harbor Acupuncture, Boston Urban Partners. So you could put in your business name or your city if you're curious. Anyway, I know a lot of you have already used this, but we have this for EIDL and PPP and RRF. I know some of you were originally approved for the restaurant grants, but then had them taken away, which is unfortunate. So the thing here, if you find your business, you can claim your business. It's something on the Skip website. So you can go through that flow and see what that's all about. Has anyone used that yet? Would love to hear in the comments. And of course, sorry I didn't ask yet, would love to hear, please put up that comment, but I'd love to hear where you all are watching from. Would love to hear where everyone's watching from. So drop it in the comments. Okay. So Tina asks, is there any new funding going to be coming available since the economy due to COVID seems to be getting worse? Anyone want to share that? Anyone have any?
I mean, at this point, who knows? I mean, our government is our government. They do things at the last minute. And of course, we have to go through the proper government channels to get anything approved. So I know I've talked to a few clients of my own that have been really focusing on, well, now that IDL is over or going to be over, what is next? So let's just hope and hang on tight and see what the future holds.
Yeah, and some of those grants, like I said, there are other SBA loans that we're starting to help people with. So what I try to impress a lot of times, and we'd all agree, is the SBA's got a lot of funding and it's low interest capital. So if you're trying to plan the next 3 months or 6 months, and basically set yourself up like in a strong position in case there's a recession. Anyway, we can help you navigate 7A or 504. Cindy asked this question. Thanks, Cindy. And thanks for all the shout outs on locations for Houston, Massachusetts, Texas, Hawaii, Denver, Indianapolis, Jacksonville. We see you all. So thanks everyone for this great audience today. So Cindy asked, I was wondering, once approved for EIDL increase, will we be able to increase again since COVID is still here?
I'd be happy to take that one.
Absolutely.
This one is also going to really depend. So it depends on when you got your first or your initial funding, because you have 2 years from the date that you got your initial funding to apply for increases. And the second thing is going to really depend on whether or not there is still funding available at the time you do, go to increase. So just definitely have to keep an eye on the funding if it's still there, and your timeline.
All right, Leonard. I hope that answers your question. But keep the comments coming and questions. Leonard, 2019 was not a normal year for me, and I've asked several times to see if they can do 2018, which some loan officers can do. In your case, they keep declining you. How do you get them to use 2018? What's worked for us when we're helping people convince loan officers to use earlier tax returns?
For us as a whole, we do have a template that they can use to kind of reiterate the fact that, hey, I understand you want 2019, but I'd like you to focus on 2018 instead and see if you can approve me on that aspect. So we do have a template for that, and if you're already part of their skip team, we kind of help you get together the forms that are needed to kind of give that nice, as I like to as I like to say, sweet package to the SBA. Include everything all at once, because you don't know what the loan officer may request from you. So if they have all of the information in front of them, it's going to be a lot easier for them to say, you know what, okay, great, let's go ahead and use 2018 instead of 2019. But you definitely want to make that into a formal request.
Yeah, and if you're, that's a great. And like I said, it's we can put up that question here. We'll get to it, so you can keep them up on the screen. But you can check out the link at the top. We left at the top. But if you want to help us, if you want help with your situation, there's a few different options there. The premium option is the main one, where it's good news if a loan officer is asking for things from you. That's a great sign. It's in your case, for them looking at 2019, hopefully they'll be open to the earlier tax returns. We've seen it work a lot. It's just knowing what to tell them and what to submit all at once, like Ray just said. Zachary, thanks for the question. Keep the questions coming. What is a minimum credit score to be approved for EIDL? Do they look at anything else? It depends on how much you're asking for it, by the way, but who wants to share a high level there?
Okay, so the minimum credit score for anything below 500,000 is going to be 570 credit score that you'll need to have. As far as, do they look at anything else? Yes, they do look at your business revenue, liabilities, all of that. If you get denied because of your credit score and it's under 500,000 that you're asking for, don't automatically assume that's it, they're not going to approve me. What you should then do is send in a credit narrative along with your reconsideration request. That credit narrative will basically say something like what's been going on that caused your credit score to go down. Maybe it was because of the pandemic and your business wasn't making money, you weren't able to pay your bills. Whatever the case was, let them know what that is and apply for that reconsideration. I've seen many people get approved even though the initial was unsatisfactory credit score.
Absolutely. Hopefully that helps. Anthony, good to see you. Good to see you back. What is up with the amended tax returns? Can we get some advice on that? So this has come up a lot. Well, let's try to help Anthony here. What's the latest?
The latest on amended returns is to get your state senator involved. Once you get your state senator involved, he or she will send you over to your congressional officer, someone closer by in your district or your area. Once they're on your plate, on your side to kind of help you things out, then a high priority loan officer will be assigned to you. At that point, the high priority loan officer will let you know what specifics they need to show that none of the big numbers got changed in your returns, because that's ultimately what the SBA is trying to say. We're trying to plead the case of nothing got changed per se, just a few numbers that we needed to add on, or a clerical issue, or whatever the case may be. But that's definitely one way that we've seen that has helped. It is going to take some time, like anything else. But once you get to that point, they'll certainly give you a decision in about a month on those amended returns.
Does that help, Anthony? Thanks, Ray, for that. And we can do this. Let's answer Kodia's question. Let me just take a quick look at the poll. So, wow, we asked the question: are you still waiting for EIDL funding? We would talk about EIDL here, or funding in general, or small business tips in general. But 77% of you are still waiting for EIDL funding. So, hopefully, a lot of these questions we're getting at, you may be in similar situations. And Kodio, and sorry if I'm not saying your name correctly, but SBA employees told me that I can be denied because of your COGS, your cost of goods sold, but I don't sell stuff, and I'm very confused. The question to note is what loan amount are you asking for? If it's over 500,000, that's when they look at a cash flow analysis. But who wants to speak to
I
this in
can
general? And I'll
I
pull
can
up a
speak
text.
to that. That's hi Claudia, how are you doing? Can you guys hear me?
I think we can hear you. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Um, we did speak about this. You don't have cost of goods sold because of what you do. He does not have a loan amount over $500,000, and for don't remember the exact reason of why, but I believe you mistakenly put something in for your cost of goods sold, but you are a service provider. So as a service provider, you don't have a cost of goods sold.
Yeah. Absolutely. And for let me bring up the on you can create a free skip account if you want, or if you're premium, you can see this as well. But I'm going to share my screen here to bring up our cash flow analysis calculator. So if you haven't used this yet, you're still waiting for an increase, you can go to EIDL2.com or the helloskip.com/join link above. And basically you can put in your 2019 net income or depreciation, your annual business debt service, annual outside income, annual personal debt service, and the total EIDL loan amount you're requesting. This is what loan officers use. So we got this from SBA loan. I mean, we made this, but this was the formula the SBA loan officer said they use all the time for loans greater than $500,000. I think for 2/3 of you, you're not applying for loans higher than 500K, maybe 3/4 of you, according to our last poll. But for some of you, if you want to play with this and see if you're eligible, you can check there on the Skip website, Skip dashboard. Okay, let's go to the next question. Zachary asks, I have heard loans under 25,000 do not report anything to personal credit. Am I right thinking this? I think, did you ask the credit score question the first time? So maybe that's why these two are related. Who wants to talk about this question?
Okay, is that in regards to your credit score? Like they don't report it to on your credit? Like don't pull your credit report? Or is it that you don't need the personal? I guess I'm trying to figure out what exactly you mean as far as the personal credit? If you're meaning, do they need to pull your credit? They will still need to do your credit, but you don't have to have a personal guarantee under 25,000. Is that what you were asking?
That's probably what he's asking. But chime in, Zachary, if it's something else. All right. What else? Denise, 4506T form won't help because they are behind on taxes, which get a reject. So, yeah, this is, well, if you're speaking of the IRS backlog, I did report on this about a week and a half ago, that, they're like 10 million, they're behind 10 million tax returns this year. And so that's the most frustrating part. And they finally had to release data. For a while, the SBA was pointing fingers, and I did a one-on-one with an SBA policy person last year, and she said, "Oh, it's the IRS's fault." And a lot of people here were skeptical. And really, you sure it's not the SBA holding things up? But it does turn out that it's likely because of the IRS systems, because of the IRS backlog. Even when you get those 4506Ts across, and then the SBA requests your taxes from the IRS, then it gets in the IRS queue, unfortunately. So I think that's what you're referring to. Anyone else have any thoughts on that? If you're just joining us too, because we have a few more folks who've joined, we have the EIDL funding experts, former SBA expert, and a couple other funding folks from our team. And, we've helped, I think to date, we've helped tens of thousands of folks get not only EIDL loans, but help them get through the EIDL grants and other processes too. So ask all your questions. And if you don't have a question, just at least share where you're watching from, because we love to hear it. It means so much to us. I mean, we have an amazing team. Our team's all over the US as well. So we love hearing where you're watching from. And so Jeff asked this. Thanks, Jeff. My local field office shared with me that the last day to submit a request for reevaluation will be February 14th. Happy early Valentine's Day, even though SBA hasn't announced it yet. So that's news to me. I don't know, Jeff, if they said that specifically for your situation, or if it's a broader policy, but I don't know if any person, but you can always email tips@helloskip.com if you have some breaking news or insights. That's our research team will dive into it. Tips@helloskip.com. But anyone have any thoughts there?
Yeah, I actually have a few. I did see that on their website. If you go to funding programs, loans, COVID-19 relief options for the IDL Advanced program, it does state on the website that as of January 1st, February 15th is the last day for reevaluations are targeted advance. However, you have to keep in mind that if you've already done a reevaluation prior to December 31st of 2021, you will be automatically denied. These are for the folks that applied at the last minute and are just getting denials, later on in December, early on in January, so they get that one chance for a reevaluation. I would strongly recommend for those people to definitely reach out to Skip, to our funding concierges, so we can help you get that package set up and get you approved for the targeted IDL grant.
Thanks, Ray. And yeah, I was trying to find where that was on this page. It's somewhere on this page, but I think you can just search. But the deadline is there for February 15th, so it's good to see that. Yeah, let's go to the next question here. Eric, good to see you, Eric. Can you explain obligating status? I have been obligating for over a week now, starting my EIDL 500 plus requested October 8th. Into recon October 29th. You're told by the loan officer that your cash flow was approved. And then, who knows much about obligating status?
Okay. Yes. So obligating status is a something you definitely want to see, Eric. That is a great place to be. Obligating basically means that they are setting the funds aside for you. So you've been approved and now they are obligating the funds to you, so that they are yours. So after the obligating status, then comes funded, or you may see funding, and then once the funds are in your account, it'll say funded. Being that you did the request October 8th and the recon was accepted October 29th, and it does take about 12 weeks for the reconsideration, you're right in the perfect time frame of it being about the 12 weeks. So that's great news. Congratulations, Eric.
And apologies if we're missing your questions. We're trying to catch up on the thread here. So if we miss it and it gets buried up in the thread, don't be shy to ask it again. We'll try to catch it. Like I said, we're trying to get through as many as possible in this more tight knit type office hours here. Tyria asks, I need help as to why it's taking so long to update my bank account. So I assume maybe this is a case where you've been approved, but you need to update to your business bank account. Uh, who wants to speak to that situation?
The latest news that we've had in regards to updating bank information, especially if you switched your bank account in the middle of the IDL, or let's just say for XY reason, you had to close out another one and reopen a new one, you have to wait until the SBA's paralegals reach out to you. They'll be on a three-way call with you, yourself, and your bank to make sure that everything is verified, and actually know the reason as to why you changed that too. Again, it does take time. I've seen it where people are waiting at least 2 3 months for that paralegal to reach out to them. But because this is a specific department and there's not a whole lot of paralegals working in the special team, we have to give them that time. It's just a matter of patience is a virtue.
Hope that helps, Tyria. And we'll keep doing a rapid fire here to get through as many questions as possible. Stephen asked this, where can I find info about Skip? So I just wanted to bring this up. We have a link right at the top here, helloskip.com/join. Lots of information there for you. And we do help not only with funding, but small business related, and we've helped people with unemployment. So you can always take a look at our services page. We help people with a lot of red tape. Our thing is skip the red tape. So depending on what state you're in, unemployment may or may not be a nightmare for you. I think most states have. Yeah, I think maybe we should give the SBA some credit and the IRS some credit when it comes down to state level services, especially during COVID. A lot of the state level unemployments are even more antiquated than federal services. So depending on your situation, we could help there. But let's do rapid fire here and see how many folks we can get through. Well, good to see you. When applied for the EIDL increase, it said unverifiable information. So was this a denial letter, I assume? And there's usually one main reason for this. I think is it 4506T or something else?
Yeah, it could be 4506T. It can also be they just simply couldn't find your business when they did a search on Google. So it'll usually tell you something like that. When it says unverifiable, look at that next paragraph and it'll give you a list of reasons. If you can tell us what those list of reasons are that it could probably be, then we can kind of go more into what you need to do to get it corrected.
Yeah, um, absolutely. And Anita, they say denied because economic injury not substantiated. Okay, this is the third common reason. Uh, what what's our general response to the SBA there?
Our general response for this one is the Form 1368. I know it's not required by the SBA, but it's out there. Um, Basically, what it's asking you is to include monthly revenues for at least 3 years before the pandemic. So you can include 18, 19, 20, and 21 because they do want current year to date. Also on that form on the second page, like I tell everybody else, it's nice to write a business narrative to kind of take them through, kind of give that voice behind the monthly revenues, and let the SBA officer know, like, this is what happened. This is how we were impacted. Whether you have had help from PPP loans, through other grants, other loan options, it kind of gives them a more clear expectation of how you were economically impacted.
Yeah, absolutely. And the second part you put in here clarified that this is what they said: the economic injury is less than the loan you received. So, um, yeah, if you want to dive deeper there, we can help. And So I'll keep going down here. Denise profile on SBA won't allow you to change the phone number because the application is in process. Time allotted, but still no response. I think you're trying to update information on your SBA portal. So I guess trying to figure out what you're trying to solve for here. I don't know if anyone has any thoughts or if this is a problem that has come up.
Yes, when your application is in process, you're not able to change anything at all on the profile for the SBA in the portal. So if you need to change anything, the best thing to do is to send an email to the PDC, letting them know you want to change the phone number, what it was before, and what you want to change it to, and why you need to change it. They may ask you, they may not, but I would do this anyway. I would still send in a front and back copy of your ID, so just so that they can make sure that you are you that's changing this information.
All right, Pat. Thanks for that question. Hopefully that helps, Patrick. Have heard nothing and reached out to Congressman for guidance. Any idea what an ETRAN error is?
Yes. So an ETRAN error is something internal that the SBA has done. It has nothing to do with anything that you've done. I believe it stands for electronic transmission. So when they were trying to do something on your account, whether it was fund your account or resize your account to a higher or lower amount, an internal error happened. So that's something that the SBA will have to fix. It's nothing that you can do or anyone else can do. It's something that they will have to do.
Yeah, hopefully that helps. Brafi, you have two businesses, both are on the same 1040. One is approved, one is lagging. What should I do? Who wants to take a stab at that one?
Sure, I will. So that's kind of a touchy one. So what I would do for the one that is approved is allow it to go ahead and continue processing through. For the one that's lagging, just kind of be easy with it because you don't want to do too much with both applications at one time, because what may happen is they'll be like, well, wait a minute, this one is lagging, it's probably a duplicate, and it'll just be easier to withdraw that application, call it a duplicate. Then you have to go through the process all over again and say, no, it's not a duplicate, it's a separate entity, and then you have to prove that. So with the one that's approved, let it be funded, and then as far as the one that's lagging, then work on that one. That would be my suggestion.
Absolutely. And let's bring up the next one here from a Barry, but just want to say we have two links in the description. One is this new business loan calculator. So a lot of times if you're tired for waiting for a EIDL loan increase, you may think getting a line of credit or a loan. So we basically put up this calculator. You can toggle and see what your total interest would be, and some of our partners, of course. And then the other link we have in the description is the ultimate guide to all small business grants for 2022. I know talk about this at the top, but many of you are just tuning in, and yeah, we hope it helps because we basically spent a few weeks going through all the new grants at the federal level, state level, corporate level, because it's what you asked for in the comments in the YouTube video. So, and there's specific things for women-owned business grants, minority-owned business grants. So would love to hear. And if you go through these and you apply for some, would love to hear. And if you have any questions about applying for them, let us know. So Abari, why would the SBA constantly ask for you to send the 4506T once it has been sent in several times before and also updated? Yeah, that's a good question, because thousands of people are going through that. What's the reason there? The diplomatic reason there?
Well, Ray, if you want to take it, I can just tell you we get that a lot. First of all, the 4506T is, and it could be several reasons why that can be happening. It could expire. It could have expired by the time it's got to the IRS. It could be due to the IRS backlog. It could be the wrong 4506T that you sent in, because you need to send in an updated one because of the new year. So this is something that has been happening, and it is ongoing. So again, could be a couple of good reasons why they're continuing to ask for that. Ray, if you want to piggyback on that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people do accidentally send in a 4506T and information is incorrect because it doesn't match their tax forms. So, I mean, like Leisha said, it could be a little bit of everything. But feel free to reach us out. We'll be more than happy to take a look at your 4506T.
And yeah, thanks for that. Let's answer a few more, and then we put up a poll too. A big question there. 2021 had the most new businesses created ever. So many folks being a sole prop, thinking, oh, I want to become an LLC, work for myself. There's the great resignation. So we put up a poll, and I think we're at 50-50 now. We asked how many people are registered as a business versus maybe a sole prop. Because I think a lot of people we've been helping recently are thinking about, they want to become an LLC. So they're switching LLC or weighing pros and cons, LLC, S Corp, C Corp. So I don't know what the latest poll is at, but I think it's 50-50. We'll get this in a minute here. Time for a couple more questions. So get them in now, or at least a hello. And if this was helpful, if you want more of these, please let us know if we should make these a regular thing. Please let us know, because it's up to you and what you vote for. Joseph, can your congressman help you? The answer is yes. Who wants to speak to that briefly?
Yes, so I kind of jumped in on that a little bit earlier. Your congressman definitely can help you get funded, especially when you're experiencing a lag. So what you want to do is contact them. They'll contact the SBA. They'll move your case from the regular general population that's being processed over to a congressional loan officer that will be working that case. So, and that way, yes, they can help you get funded.
Got it. So the latest poll we have, 48% of you are LLCs. Very interesting to see. That's what we expect. Well, a lot of small businesses. 15% of you are sole proprietors. 9% of you are S corps. So far, it doesn't look like anyone's C corp. But thanks for taking that poll. Let's answer one more question before we have to go. And like I said, please comment if you want us to do this regularly, or if there's questions we missed. This is gonna be up on YouTube, and or just use the link above if you want to talk with us. Laylee 100able. My numbers for my application didn't match up with my 2019 taxes. Will I be disqualified for the advance and loan?
You won't necessarily be disqualified for it because your numbers don't match up. That will have to be fixed before you can go forward, because that is definitely something that's going to come back. Those numbers do have to match. So whatever is on that 4506T, when it comes back from the IRS, those numbers do have to match. What will happen is they will reach out to you and let you know that it is not matching, and then they will also provide you with information on what you can do to fix that, to get that fixed. And when you say your numbers, you're meaning your tax. I'm assuming from taxes, just those numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. I mean, we see all of you in the comments. I really appreciate it. Like I said, we try to keep this intimate. We open it up for some more people. But of course, if you're not subscribing, I think most of you are, but hit subscribe and turn on the alerts, because we do plan to do more of these. I mean, we want to hear from you, but we do plan to do more of these, especially beyond EIDL, more funding, helping you register your business, helping you grow this year. In fact, we have a whole small business in a box type series we're going to be doing. So be sure to hit subscribe. And of course, like this video, others will see it, this recording. And most importantly, hope you're all staying well, staying healthy, and can't wait to see you all soon in the next one. And thanks again for tuning in on behalf of the team. We'll see you all soon. Have a good afternoon.